5 or 8, but if you wait too long, the positive returns over time is negative because you probably would have gotten a better use of it if you had swung 3 times, missed twice, but hit once in the span of a minute, as opposed to saving it for a full minute and you never hit it at all. Does that make sense?
Instead of waiting for an opportunity, try to create one.
Yeah, just throw it out. It has armor, it has lots of range.
Yeah, and Lucas is having a hard time punishing any block. So I think his bestest option is going fair out of shield.
And even then, you're probably not going to die anyways.
And considering that it kind of pushes him back, it may not even reach you. Depending on how you use it. So don't be afraid to throw it out, because he's a short range character.
So that's the footnotes for you. A, sharper, more careful neutral. B, throw that punch out.
Alright, so now we're gonna start the next match. You guys are free to play.
Alright, don't forget to mute yourself.
Okay. Mute your mics before you start.
Yeah, if you don't mute yourself, I'll mute it for you. Mute, please.
Mute him out of here.
DK's grin.
3, 2, 1, go!
I could more. Well, I was about to say patience until he can drop down with that there. I mean, DK's great in the air too, but like, if he loses double jump, it's kind of fucked versus Lucas. So I guess most of the cast too. That was a good option. He has to stop dash attacking. He hasn't gotten one yet.
Okay, I don't notice which range he takes.
So you look at that. This DK fire.
Well, I just noticed something. Like, I just noticed something. Like when he started charging, he made Lucas approach. He should just fucking charge all the time.
For some reason, Smash is someone sees someone charging, they always run at you.
Yeah.
Character is just like, compelled to run at you.
Well, see, that was the idea behind you trying to get him to.
Yeah.
A, you're gonna increase the amount that you hit it, and B, you can't charge it unless you don't have it. So you gotta use it, and then you can charge it and use that to spit a shot.
Yeah, Lucas is playing this really good, really patient. Yeah, I mean his approaches are.
He's still not walking.
Oh no, he did it again! What the hell is this thing?
Yeah, people actually have a lot of walking. It sounds silly, but a lot of people just play with dashes.
Yeah, you can learn to walk and get
I haven't seen one.
Walking is hard for players that are nervous.
You almost that shit called. I like it called on the side. He never rolled in.
Oh good, he didn't jump. That's like the one thing I see when they mess up in. They're by the way. Look right there, look, he jumped, he did it.
Yeah, attacking from off stage.
That's not unnecessary dash dancing.
Yeah, and he's gonna show up in there. Lucas is short, that's not gonna hit him.
I think he can mix up his recovery by just double jumping into him and then directional air jumping.
Yeah.
Just like past him as like a cross up. I see DK will do it all right.
Oh, big thing.
That was a good dash attack.
It was. Testing the line.
Yeah, only when he's like...
But he can't just do it as a read, you know, when he tries to approach him, he's getting hit for it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, I thought
DK was invincible coming from the new platform and ran away instead of using that time.
Yeah.
That was a good choice.
Yeah, the shot nares are have purposes.
Uh-oh. Ooh, that could have been bad. Oh yeah, I don't know why he's being out of that shield.
You should back here more.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he hesitated there because he saw it coming, but he should have did as fast as possible.
The situation where like if Lucas time right, he kind of just has to hold it.
Well, DK can delay it and then pull in later.
He was as low as possible already. The only thing he could do is like he could do a B at a distance it then drift in afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That's the only way you get around it. If it's come from below, Lucas is just kind of body. Yeah, that's a rough situation.
And it only gets bigger.
Yeah. Then you can charge it and.
All right. So now, did you
kind
guys?
of guess the game there.
Yeah, the Lucas did pretty damn good. The only issue that I saw was like some pivot options he could have did in like when this guy attacked him, but I think he got nervous, like, oh, maybe I don't have the time to hit him after he dash attacks.
Yeah.
So instead of going for the pivot at the dash attack, he guessed what the next option was, and he guessed it correct, but you don't want to guess when you can get something that's, you know, definitely true.
Yeah, I would say for DK again is like, one, stay on the ground more. I don't know what it is. People in this game love jumping. You gotta cut that out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the thing about jumping is something that people don't realize. When people jump and do aerials at you, if they're doing landing areas especially, people have a lot more time to react to it and punish you for it. Grounded moves a lot harder to react to. This in a Wi-Fi setting. Like if DK's walking at you, you don't know when the forward tilts of a down tilt's coming out. Or that dash attack, which is quite fast too.
Yes, and you can do it instantly, like
from standing position.
At any moment, yeah, from a standing position at any point in time. But when you dash back and then dash forward and dash attack, you're giving them time as a telegraph.
To think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no reason to dash out because Lucas there's no point in dash dancing because it's not trying to approach you. He's trying to space you out. If it's someone who's like more rushdown oriented, yeah, then you can like kind of wiggle in back and forth. But Lucas is running from you. He's staying at a particular space the entire time. So dash dancing is not going to help you.
Yeah.
Only if you get closer. If you're trying to bait him to do something, like to sort of like push backwards. Because once he gets in the corner, he has nowhere else to go. He has to get through you somehow. And that's when you have to take your position to try to punish him for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you got?
Alright, so these guys in chat. Are they in chat, bro?
Yeah. Still
Yeah, I'm here. It's just my big thing with against Lucas is, you know, if he a fire grounded or in the air, it's still gonna hit me. So it's like it almost seems like he's just always conditioning me to shield, and even if I'm trying to like outspace him, he just, you know, like you're saying, he doesn't have to approach me. I have to approach him.
Yeah, so what you want to do is put him into a pressure situation. You have a bunch of ways to do that. So like when it comes to you approaching, you know, walking and shielding, in my opinion, is probably the best thing that you can do when it comes to like approaches. And then like you can mix that up with like tilts when he starts getting to a certain direction of you. And then you can mix that up with like, do you know how to pivot dash by any chance?
I'm not proficient. Pivoting is actually one of my issues.
Yeah, so just like move forward, you know, after a little bit of a run. You can't do it immediately after the run, but like, you know, a certain amount of frames, you turn the other way and then you tilt the opposite way of where your back is turned, which is the direction you started walking towards in the first place. So like, how it would work with DK is if you're on the left side of the screen, you run to the right, you hold left, and then you just press right on the tilt stick to move to the right hand side, and you'll be able to hit them. That way, like, you can boost yourself. I don't know how good it is with DK, specific character, get a bit more. And then on top of that, one thing I started seeing you do, and this is something a lot of Ganondorf mains use because they don't have a lot of movement, is instead of contesting vertical space, instead of contesting horizontal space, you start playing your neutral in the vertical space, which isn't that bad, but the issue with DK in that matchup in particular is as soon as you use your second jump and you get hit really far, you're kind of fucked. If you were like at lower percents, maybe it wouldn't be that, you know, big of a deal. Maybe you could get away with it because you know you're not going to get hit off stage. But that's an option too you can use. And then lastly is finding out what moves can contest fire. What moves can hit it if you're good with the timing, because there's a windup. Pick it back, pick it back. You start timing yourself to when he throws it out. Maybe you can contest it with an aerial, like a back air. We also noticed that you were near, like, out of shield, which doesn't hit Lucas at all, dude. That dude is short, yo. And then on top of that, you can start utilizing air dodges with short hops, but you know, just try to really think about, be like Smeagol when it comes to your second jump is precious. Try not to use that too much, okay? Especially with UK. And then lastly, when it comes to movement, like coming up close, like your dash attacks were a little, you know, they were overreaching. It almost seemed like they were desperate dash attacks. They were like, okay, I just want to get this guy, opposed to let me be a little more strategic about this dash attack, or maybe, you know, I can make him think I'm doing a dash attack and close the distance. Now, when you start getting close to Lucas, when you get close enough, what are his options? I really want you to focus on like what are his first things to do as soon as you get to a certain distance with him. Does he attack? Does he jump? Does he double jump? Does he back away? Does he try to roll behind you? And that's when you start to really you know, dictating the match when it comes to the options that you can select. Because if he's staying grounded and he's rolling down, he's going to cover anything, whether he spot dodges or shields. And then it becomes an issue of like, how well are you good? How good are you at bottlenecking his options to a finite number of options you can choose? And that's when you can really start having fun with DK to like limit people's options and force them to pick a bad one. And then for like ways to move in. So we've covered contesting his moves with yours. I don't know if up B grounded can go through his fire. That could be another option you can use. I don't know what aerials can hit it. And
the problem with contesting moves is that that's a strategy better suited for offline. Remember,
yeah.
Would you going forward? Generally, I think you guys should all stick to things that are tuned for strategic purposes, because anything reliant on technical aspects can just be thrown out of the window for Wi-Fi play. So just that might be a little bit
or did I?
I don't know if I cut off. I didn't see myself cut off, but I basically said what I was gonna say anyway, which is just like try to be less technical about the advice and more strategic.
This was a stupid idea, but I just did myself for being annoying.
Who's that? Oh,
yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
someone's talking in the background.
yeah, I'm muted. I'm muted. Go ahead. Continue talking.
Yeah, so that's just for us going forward as well. Let's just try to be more strategic about our advice, because
Then technical.
yeah, because they have no avenue to try that, and they're gonna try it online, and they're gonna feel frustrated that they can't get that to work. That's why it's just like anything like, oh, perfect shield more, or oh, you should do the tilt pivot attack cancels, and that stuff is just not gonna work, man. Just all strategy, because that's better for them anyway. It's for them to start thinking about strategic things.
Mm-hmm. This is true.
All right. So
Anybody have any last words to say about these guys?
Also wants to chime in.
Alright, who's next? I think it's.
All right, so we got Janelle. We got Janelle.
If it's me, then
Oh, all
I
right.
basically said my piece already. It's just work on utilizing those tips more, because that last match, that was basically your opportunity to sacrifice that match to see how well you can implement walking and tilting, but you immediately decided that falling on your instincts was the way to get you out. And it's just kind of like it's every match is an opportunity for you to play that way and to experiment. So it's just like that's mainly what you're gonna have to start doing. Literally, that's like your tip, is learn how to implement tips. We can forget about anything else anybody says. Like, learn to like hear something that you know when you're hearing it is like, okay, that'll work, and then go into the match and tell yourself, even if this contributes to me losing, I'm gonna try to make this thing work. Even if it's just one thing, like, walking and tilting. If it's just that, then live and die by it, just so that you learn how to improve upon that, because you know that that's the correct way. So as long as you know that's the correct way, all that's left is for you to do, which is to learn how to apply that for yourself. But you know that's the correct way. Walking and tilting gets past zoning. When you play matches, whether it's a tournament or not, that's your focus.
Alright, last thing I want to add to it, so I don't think anyone else has anything to add, but I noticed that when, okay, one does, but it'll be quick. Charge more. I noticed as soon as you started charging your punch, Lucas was approaching instead of you. That's it.
Any last words for these guys?
Yeah, just wanted to just very briefly touch up upon, and it's for mainly for DK because Lucas is playing really on point, playing the matchup well. So like with the walking and shielding stuff, like once you get close enough to the point where if Lucas throws another PK fire, you punish him out of shield, he can't throw another PK fire. So you know that after that, he's either gonna, like Senex was saying, he's either gonna roll behind you, dash grab you, or like jump, right? Those are like really the only options because you have him cornered, and you did that by just blocking PK fire, walking up to him, blocking PK fire, and now he has to make a decision. And if he throws another PK fire, punish. And then, but obviously he's not going to do that, so you just have to figure out what tendency he has after the fact, and then take it from there. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Well, I do have to add something onto that. One thing that you have to realize is you have to play to your character's strengths and play around their weaknesses. And what I mean by that is you have to accept that generally speaking, if you're DK, you're not going to have great punishes out of shield is what I meant to say. You're not going to have great punishes out of shield. So instead of going for a punish that is bad, just opt out and try to reset the situation, or try to use your movement to make the situation better for you for another hit. That's not the immediate punish that you're trying to go for. Because whenever you get your shield touched and you go for those nairs out of shield or Packer out of shield, and Lucas is just on the floor being short, you're just opening yourself, you're contributing yourself to getting hit more. So just, if you're getting your shit, like the way you're playing is, if he's getting in that close where he's using his physical strikes, you know, in that case it would be his magic, but if he's getting that close, then you fucked up the interaction already. So your idea is that you're using your limbs and your burst options and your range to box him out before he can get to that point. Because, you know, he can throw out moves and you can either trade or just slap him out. You just box him out. So, like J-Tails, basically this is what I'm saying to build off of J-Tails. So he's saying to, you know, worm your way in patiently and see if he makes the mistake of PK firing too close, and then if you know, you can just drop shield forward tilt or drop shield instantly dash attack, something like that, and force him to make a mistake. But you can't do that unless you're sticking to the strategy of walking and shielding and tilting. So that's what you'll have to develop, is not being afraid to try that out and lose, and force yourself to not default to your you know, your instinctive play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get
Alright.
I'm sorry, you're cutting in and out.
He said he was stubborn, and he can be stubborn and is aggressive.
Yeah, we had this talk when I had a little session with him a while ago. But yeah, we're gonna be moving on to the next matches. We have, what is this guy? We got Janelles versus Manji. I can't even see the names. So you guys ready? Oh, all right. Sorry about that. I couldn't see it. You guys can start.
Oh boy, this matchup.
Just make sure you mute yourself before the match starts.
If not, I'm gonna mute you.
What's that mean?
3, 2, 1.
Are they both in here? We have two guys in here.
Yeah. And remember, after the match, guys, you gotta take some notes. Remember to have your notepads out.
Oh, you didn't jump. They both like to go off stage, I can tell them why.
Okay, this is a very off-stage matchup.
Look at that. That's the second time Luigi has put himself on stage. It's harder than usually, you know?
That's I wouldn't advise blindly going off stage.
the dash attack after the grab.
Something a little bit more. Something a little bit more.
That was a really funny punish for that whip grab. Yeah, I thought the same thing. See, that's better when he jumps on things like that to like punish him instead of just going all the way low. At least he won't give him the stage control. Yeah, okay.
That was a whole lot of down tilts there.
Oh, he wanted to hit he should have just spiked him instead. I mean, he still got it, but yeah. So we just start probably
I think back air was the better online.
Yeah, I like the forward tilts, just stopping the grab.
Careful, anti.
He's doing Luigi's trying to release with his kills.
You should have went for a T-jolt. Stop him.
Yeah, Luigi's doing reads. He's running with dash attacks, grabs, and smash attacks.
Back air, up air. Another back air.
Yeah, but Luigi's weight, you have to like do up air. I see why you said up air. It's like on any other weight.
Oh, I think general, you can't get me back there with that.
But you saw that though?
And then up air.
He got that kill because he waited for a chance to punish himself, man. Instead of doing a read.
The thing is, always he's fishing grabs.
Oh, see? Yeah, I get why Mega AJ is doing it. It makes sense.
Yeah, I think he gets
Is it wrong?
resort to more T-jolts.
Yeah, because of all those grabs.
What I think he should do exactly, see, he's literally just doing it now. He should do a little bit more fireball usage.
Wow.
Yeah, that doesn't wait for it.
I guess that was like a mix-up thinking that he was gonna spot dodge.
Try to set the unit slap. That could be bad.
Yeah, that's
Could have left me.
yeah, I'm scared that
Kind of rolls.
Careful, this.
That was the flip.
Bounce right?
But that was good juking in the air by the player.
Pikachu!
He didn't do anything when he landed, but avoiding those aerial hits were good. Heal. Yeah.
Alright, Senex, you're up first.
Yep, sir.
Alright, so I'll give like a little critique, I guess, on both, but I'll start with the Luigi player first.
Yeah.
So, like in the beginning of the game, you were going off stage, and so was the Pikachu player actually as well. Like both you guys were just like, I'm gonna end this motherfucker's life right now. When you could have like gotten stage control, you know, because as a Luigi player, you know, fighting a Pikachu, you don't know when Pikachu's exactly gonna come up, especially on Wi-Fi. It's pretty hard, you know. And then towards like the middle of the game, I started seeing come back to the stage with like a down air after going off. So that's a little better because at least you still keep your stage control. Whereas like, you know, Pikachu, if you really wanted to be messed up, can like end your life like immediately as soon as he, you know, gets the ledge after a failed attempt at edge guard from you. So definitely be careful with that. But you did fix it up towards the middle. The biggest critique I would say is like moves that are reads. You throw a lot of preemptive moves out, and some of it I can understand to be like a wall, like, but you have to mix it up with your Zair and your Fireball, not necessarily dash attack. The dash attack is like for a read that you condition, and you know, you said this to other players. You don't want to react to a situation, you want to create one. So don't do that preemptively unless you have data, backing like, oh, maybe he's going to spot dive, so a dash attack would make sense here, as opposed to, I'm praying that this just hits. You know what I mean? And then as for the Pikachu player, like, same thing in the beginning, like, you had issues with going off stage a little too hand. You also have to realize that Luigi is floaty as hell, so he can go low, and it's best to intercept that time if you do want to edge guard, during that time when he's coming up, not necessarily when you think he's gonna jump, because he is floaty. He can really stall himself, like, for a while. Alright, that's pretty much all I got so far.
Alright, who's next?
Who's next?
Details.
Feel like he covered a good part of it. As far as hold on 1 second. As far as Mega J's Luigi, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Mega J basically definitely, like, I see what you were doing with the way you were grabbing. Like, there was a point where I think you did like standing grab, then you whiffed that, then you did pivot grab, you whiffed that, and then you did one more pivot grab and you got that one. So it's like, I get what you're doing, but you definitely have to, like, know how to tempo switch and go, okay, for now I'm gonna shoot a few fireballs in a row and get him off thinking about grab and just start zoning him out with fireballs. And again, kind of like the same tip with the the coaches will know what I'm talking with this Mario player earlier with the fireballs. Think about the fact that Luigi's fireballs, when you're in the air, you can control your character pretty well while doing the move. Where it's just like there's a lot of projectiles in this game that kind of freeze your character. So use that to your advantage. Like, if you short hop and shoot fireball, you can hold back after the shot to move yourself backwards while facing the opponent, and just have the fireball create the distance for you. And you don't always necessarily have to shoot them grounded. You could use that aerial mobility to create space while you're throwing a hitbox out there. So I think that's like the main tip. It's just don't be afraid to play the way you're playing with grabs, but with fireballs too, because Pikachu still has to decide how to get around those fireballs. And it's not as if they're very, very slow for you frame-wise. You can kind of like let a fireball loose and get back to where you were doing fairly quickly. So yeah, just cheese with that as much as you're cheesing with grabs. That's it. And I guess if I had to give advice to the Pikachu, I would say get a little bit more with jolts, like throw jolts and just kind of force Luigi to jump, because remember, Luigi's bad in the air. He has very, very bad airspeed and he's very floaty. So if you notice him jumping a lot because he's trying to get away from having to block or deal with your jolts, then that kind of puts him in a better position for you. It makes him play around you as opposed to you having to play around him, which is what it looked like more. You had the speed, but his moves just kind of like are able to trample your offense sometimes. So yeah, just basically play around provoking bad options with your jolt. Even if that means you have to throw 6, 7, 8 jolts in a row. Well, that's what it is. Just wait for a better option to arise, you know?
Cool. Yeah, so I have a few tips for both players. Basically, for Janail's Pikachu, just remember that against certain characters, you're gonna have to tailor your combos and strings a little bit differently, especially characters that have frame 3, like really, really fast options. And Luigi has the down B, which I believe has some invincibility on it. So you have to like respect that and kind of like tailor your combos and stuff differently. Like kind of like instead of doing 3 or 4 pieces, do 1, 2, and then like fast fall and block. Wait for the down B, reset, right? You know what I mean? So you're just kind of like baiting it out, essentially.
Yeah, because they both have combo breakers. Because it's in Pikachu's the Thunder similar.
Yeah, Luigi Tornado's frame 1 invincibility, I just checked.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to respect it.
Holy shit.
And
I didn't-
Pikachu also does have similar options. So, you know,